Yo, test, how's it going? So, anyone who's seen this might know, if you saw LCS 23, obviously I don't want to spoil too many things for what happened or what was the result, but, this is basically well, you guys can just see it on the Twitch stream recording, but this is my last place, rock golem sort of beatdown deck. If you don't know, I placed essentially 69th place in LCS, 22. So, and this is basically what I ended up showing up with. Basically, the point of this is just to get a lot of high power rock beaters out there. Basically, I originally was gonna try and do Monk Fighter, Master Monk, and Truescape the Mouse Fighter, but I ended up changing that after I discovered a lot of these rock support monsters like Rockstone Warrior, which it's a lot of one card sort of combos. It has an effect where it's kind of niche. It has to attack and destroy itself, but you won't take damage from its effect, and it can summon 2 tokens out. I mostly use this for stalling, as they can't be used for attributing. One of my opening combos, where if I was going second, would just be to throw over a big piece golem. I would have the double summon, and if I had medium piece golem, then I can also get a small piece golem out. And I could get the board small piece, medium piece, big piece. I actually was able to do that once successfully. Somehow in the entire time, Monk Fighter and the Master Monk combo never really came around. I honestly probably should have cut these out from my deck, but what I wanted was some ability to, see by attributing this, I could get more rocks into my graveyard, which would be a target for something like Gaia Plate the Earth Giant, which actually showed up pretty much never in every single all 6 duels I was able to be in. As well as it also could be targets for Gigastone Omega, which by banishing they can summon themselves, Gaia Plate of the Earth Giant, Gigastone Omega. Originally I also had another card in here, Mega Rock Dragon, but I removed it for consistency because its attack and defense when summoned would only be the monster's banished times 700. So it would never really have a whole lot of attack or defense. So whenever I'd bring it out, it would be like a 700 or 1400 beater or wall and wouldn't do a whole lot. Another card I used a lot was Powered Giant. So it can special summon itself from the hand by discarding a level 4 or lower monster to the graveyard, which again helps stack my graveyard for Gaia Plate and Gigastone, although that strategy ended up being used a lot less than I thought. Another thing I found, because LCS has a limited pool of cards, I was much more limited in what I could use. So my main searcher that I used, or more like special summon slash searcher, was Doki Doki. Discards a rock monster to special summon another rock monster from my deck with the same attribute and level in attack or defense position. It's a once per turn effect, so I can only do it once per turn. But either way, I was still able to get stuff out like Rockstone Warrior or medium piece golem or small piece golem. To add a little bit to the summoning mechanics, to the summoning combo, I also threw in this Gorgonic Gargoyle. When I normal summon a rock type monster, I can special summon this from my hand. So this was also just a kind of, if I could get a few of these out. Let's say I did this plus small piece golem, I have 2 level 3s. Then we go to sort of my extra deck. I had like Soul of the Silver Mountain, 2 level 3 Earth monsters. Helps me do a little bit of countering some spells and traps. Then I have Gorgonic Guardian, 2 level 3 rock types. I could detach from this and make my opponent's attack against 0, or I could pop a target on the field, pop a monster on the field. I had Diamond Crab, which boosts to 3000 attack off detaching. And those are basically my main generic focused exceed monsters. If I couldn't get most of my big hitters out, my biggest hitter is probably Prime Mineral Congrate. There is another Prime Mineral in here. I'll just search it up real quick. And I did initially have this in here, Prime Mineral Man Strong, but in terms of consistency, since my focus was focusing on just getting large beat sticks out there and trying to punch over my opponent, it ended up not really being great. I mean, as a wall, maybe. It didn't really do very well overall when I tested it out. So Overall, that was my main setup. My sort of secondary condition I could do, well, I had double summon. First of all, I had double summon here, just sort of try to get more of these guys out because, again, very limited summoning format. So I really had to do whatever I can. I had polymerization here for multiple piece Golem, which is a big plus a medium piece. And if this card attacked or was attacked, I could return it to the extra deck, and then I can basically special summon from my graveyard the materials back. And if I had polymerization again, I could just loop it again. I never really ended up getting multiple piece Golem on the field in actual play, only in testing once or twice. I did get small, medium, and big, as I said on the field. The Twitch chat kind of erupted like yelling One Piece. It was hilarious, to be honest. Another card I have here that's really good is Magnet Reverse. So basically, I can target a machine or rock monster that's in my graveyard or banished that cannot be normal summoned and special summon it. So that's why Permineral Congrate was a target for that, and Gigastone Omega. The real reason that Permineral Congrate was a really good target for that, I would say, is because whenever he get flipped up to activate his effects where I can remove 2 cards in the field by destroying them, it's usually when he was getting attacked. So he gets destroyed, but I could summon it immediately back with this. Its effect wouldn't be able to activate again, but then it becomes a 3000 beater after having just removed 2 cards from the opponent's field. So I think that was pretty good. Canyon was really the only good field spell I could think to add. If my opponent were, say, run into some face-down defense positions like or Gigastone Omega, and maybe they miscalculate some stuff. Overall, this probably wasn't the best strategy to go for, but I needed a field spell that was good for rocks, and I couldn't run much of the archetypal support because those were banned from the LCS rules. The last card standing, I should specify. And then I had other Xyz monsters like Giant Soldier of Steel and Gallant Granite, which were kind of here just to kind of fill the ranks of the extra deck. I had a Bellcat Fighter in there, though I never really used it all that much because, well, 2000 attack wasn't enough to really destroy a whole lot, and I had to use 3 monsters to even get it out there. And sure, you could create a bunch of tokens, but realistically, this probably wasn't the best thing to run in a rock deck. I had a few. I also had this guy, which does. I'm going to basically destroy a monster if it's not a link monster, and I also had some battle traps like Radiant Mirror Force. I had an Offering to the Immortals, which was meant as sort of the last resort wall up, like stall, because it can negate an incoming attack and special summon 2 tokens. I did not have any Earthbound Immortals. I was not making an Earthbound Immortal deck, but at the end of the day, I thought it could be a good way to try and wall up if Immortal's about to go down. And honestly, I should have ran Jelly Cannon at 3 instead of maybe the Mirror Forces. It ended up being one of the most useful things I could have, just by removal against cards that couldn't be destroyed by card effects. Punch in the Box just as well, because I could, stop an attack. I could stop an incoming attack, and then I could destroy another card in the field. So some of the battle traps I had were actually, I'd say, pretty good for what was available. But I think the shortcomings of the deck, I think I could have just lived without double summon, given how many of these can summon each other, summon different pieces of them. Maybe I could have ran this at 1, it was barely used. I probably should have cut the monks out. I know I was trying to stack my graveyard a bit, but I don't think it was really worth it at the end of the day. Even though this Master Monk can attack twice, I either should have went all on one strategy instead of trying to bounce around and combine it with multiple strategies. Some things I'd say were good, and I would definitely run again if I were to try to run this again. I doubt I will, just because it's proved to be very inconsistent, although a lot of people seem to like it, and I just want to thank everyone who supported it. But Power Giant, Primeval Congrate, and maybe 2 Gaia Plates, I would say, are definitely ones I'd run again, as well as the Doki Doki, of course. It's a staple for any rock deck that I can see. And realistically, that's pretty much the deck profile. I haven't really done one of these before, so this is just going over the basics of what I had here. And at the end of the day, the tournament was mostly about having fun. I don't care so much that I lost it all, or that I only went 1-6, I didn't top, and my only win was to a pass. I was also offered the chance to duel the winning duelist of the tournaments, but turns out, like, finals go really fast, and I stepped away just as they ended the last duel, and I missed the chance to do that. So I guess I'm kind of coming here on a bit of a redemption arc. If there is an LCS 23, and it's not resetting to the next season, you know, I'm definitely down for that. And actually, if it's cool, I think I'm going to show what I might be playing next. This is an idea, not this is a test deck, but this was one thing that I've been looking into playing for a while. So yeah, I'm not sure if we'll actually use this, but most of the cards here are still not banned on the tournament rules, so who knows, we'll see. But anyways, that's it. Thanks for letting me show you this, and I hope next time I can really show up and, I feel like I disappointed a lot of people at the end there, but I know stuff happens. I hope I do a lot better next time, and I guess that's it for this video. I'll see you guys later.